FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Let me close with a quick discussion of Star Wars Kid. I don't know how many people have heard of Star Wars Kid. He's from Canada. He filmed himself with a camera using a golf ball retriever to pretend that he was in a Star Wars movie. It looks a little goofy. Some friends of his put it on the net, and before you know it, it was everywhere. It was an internet phenomenon. One estimate has it having been downloaded over 500 million times. And here's the Wikipedia entry for the Star Wars Kid. My hope is that there are ways to imbue our net when the problems come up, not at the technical layer with malware and badware or filtering, but at the social layer with things like invasion of privacy, with a way of expressing social preferences and having people elsewhere on the net make a choice about whether to respect them. We do that with robots.txt. This is the unofficial standard by which a website is allowed to broadcast to the robots of the world, like the Google robot, what they are allowed to index and what they aren't. Here are directories that you could see if you wanted Google, but we ask that you ignore them. And surprisingly, Google ignores them. So does Microsoft, so does Yahoo, so does every other major search engine. Not everybody, of course. This is all optional. It's only later that we started to ask, well, wait a minute, how much might this amount to a legal obligation if you can express it? Instead, the Internet's engineers saw a potential problem. They designed a simple, flexible way of dealing with it. Very crude, but it was enough for government work, and you ended up able to express it. There's a website online that has funny pictures from Olin Mills. Remember Olin Mills? Right? So this is just one example. Olin Mills backdrop number 4, bucolic meadow with split row fence. Is that an animal carcass behind her? And you're like, wait a minute, I think it is. What was Olin Mills thinking? And so it goes on one after the other. And then here's one that says, I don't know what the picture was, that's the caption, but it says image removed at request of owner. However snarky this site was, the webmaster was prepared to respect what I really believe was a request, not a legal demand, certainly not a well-enforceable legal demand, that this thing go down, because it was the right thing to do. And I think there are all sorts of ways in which we can start to express and respect the preferences that people have as to how their privacy should be treated online before we jump up to the 2 quadrants. So Star Wars Kid, you read this thing, there's something amazing missing from the Wikipedia account. His name. Nowhere does it say who this guy is. You could trivially find out with a little bit of Googling, but here's the discussion in which the Wikipedians argued with each other as to whether to put his name in. And somebody says, you know what, his parents requested it. Let's just delete the surname and just do the forename, not because we think we'll be sued, just out of courtesy. Somebody comes by like, no, they can request all they want, but the mainstream media has done it. And they say, yeah, but that was before the parents requested. And then they say, blah, 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 this is ignorance. Ignorance goes against our mission. And then this guy comes back with, no, it has nothing to do with ignorance. The kid really got hurt by this. If he were your son or the kid himself, you'd feel the same way. This is about ethics. And that argument prevailed. And the mainstream media never had that argument. It didn't even occur to them to protect his identity. These are the kinds of decisions that I believe we can be faced with all the time, if we want, as we start expanding this internet at the social and content layers. If that Star Wars Kid video, before it went viral, had a chance to have the kid attached to it a note pleading, please, don't forward this link on, find a cat flushing a toilet instead, because it's really hurting me. Give yourself the Star Wars Kid test. Would you forward it on? Or would you say, you know what? I'll find something else funny. I won't even ask people, well, you know what? A quick hum. How many people would refrain from forwarding a link that is otherwise funny and that you would be tempted to share in this circumstance where the kid in Toronto says, please, it's greatly embarrassing to me, don't do it? How many would respect that? 1, 2, 3? All right. How many would not? How many would forward it anyway? 1, 2, 3? All right. You'd forward it to just one person. That's a great compromise. You're what we call not a bad apple, but not a great one either. But it's exactly that, Dave Weiner. Oh, it's early in. It's not gone ubiquitous yet. You are the leader that you are, so you've got an early warning of this internet meme about to break. And I firmly believe that with this architecture, exactly the elements that make the internet meme so powerful and sometimes dangerous, that it's one link at a time viral, is what can save us. Because most of the people will respect, if they share the norm, a well-articulated request, and the bad apples won't let it catch fire because there aren't enough of them. If it's Dick Cheney doing something embarrassing, the view may be different, and as well it should be. That's what puts it into our zone.